It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
It was a full meeting with a big crowd, and we'll tell you why in a few minutes. That meeting was on February 18th, and we'll also tell you about some other things happening around town. A lot happens here in the end of winter, moving into spring, and also a quick nugget. We have something about Concert in the Lawn later on in the fall, so be ready for that.
Yes.
Heidi, let's talk about the meeting on the 18th. Again, about a 2-hour meeting. A lot of information about street reconstruction that we'll get to in just a second. Consent, nothing really from the consent standpoint that was different from what we've talked about in the past. Some information about the Project 100 that continues to move ahead. In the special business, let's move to Representative Bonner. Talked a little bit about the Capitol. Tell us what she had to say.
Yeah, so the session's about 1 week underway here, and so Representative Bonner came out to provide an update about what's been going on so far, and then a little bit of a insight into what we expect in the session. Clearly, we have 2 bonding bills that we're working on from a city perspective, the 610 completion as well as the North Metro Range expansion, and she's helping us and carrying those bills. Both of those are sitting in the House bonding bill, so she's been key to that effort. We got to work on the Senate side and make sure those projects show up on the Senate side, but she providing us great support and leadership there, and then talked a little bit about some other bills she's working on at the legislature. There's a Hometown Heroes bill that talks about health care for firefighters and support for firefighters, those kinds of things. And then she does a lot of work around the issue of health care, pharmaceuticals, those kinds of things. So she's got a very busy docket down at the Capitol, but we appreciate her taking the time to come in and provide an update to the council.
Very good. We'll keep an eye on things that happen down at the Capitol. Moving next to the long item of the night, one of the 2 public hearings of the night, and this is something that happens on an annual basis, talking about street rehabilitation throughout the city. And so we'll talk specifically about the area that's being worked on, or the 3 areas worked on this year, but just in general for people that now are going through this or might in the future. Tell us in general what the program is in Maple Grove and why it's so important.
Yeah, and I think program is a key word. We really think about this as a program of how we maintain our local streets in Maple Grove versus, kind of a specific project, if you will. And so every year we go through the city and our street crews go out and kind of rate the streets, monitor the condition of those streets. We typically like to see 20, 25 years of life out of our city streets, and we do that in a number of ways through, we used to do a lot of seal coating. There's been issues with that in the past, so we do, fixing potholes, a lot of crack sealing, those kinds of things to try to extend the life of those streets. But typically we're coming through neighborhoods and doing those, that street rehabilitation, reconstruction about every 20 to 25 years. So we have about 300 miles of streets in the city, so that means about every year we're trying to do about 10 miles depending on the conditions of the streets that we're looking at. So, the city has had this program in place for about 25 years about how we approach street maintenance. It was a program that was developed back then, and having been served in about 4 different cities, each city can do it a little bit differently. But typically kind of how you start out is kind of how the program continues, because kind of once you start down a road of that, how that funding will come together, it's kind of hard to shift gears. So the approach that the city takes is that the city contributes about 50% of the cost of the street reconstruction to the project. We cover all of the utility costs that are associated with that. So if we're replacing any water or sewer, storm sewer infrastructure while we're out there, the city covers those costs 100%. And then we do pull in some other resources through state aid, those kinds of things to help offset those costs. But residents are then picking up about 50% of just the street reconstruction costs. And sometimes, I think it's not necessarily specifically related, directly to that street right in front of your home, but it's really about maintaining the local street infrastructure. So all of those streets that you take leading up to the county road, or all of those streets that you take leading up to the interstate system. It's really about maintaining and keeping that infrastructure up, and helping support, home values. We want to have, home values that grow at a reasonable rate, but also, have neighborhoods with good maintained infrastructure, and this is really key to that program. So a single family home pays right around I think about $5,700, $5,800 for that assessment, payable over a 20-year period. There's a 4% interest rate applied to that. It can be prepaid at any time. And then for other medium density or high density type projects, that rate goes down a bit based on kind of the traffic modeling that we see in a medium density and a high density housing unit compared to a single family home. So annual process, we're out in 3 different areas of the city, kind of more on the west side this year. Yep. So we'll get started with these projects probably right after early June, and we usually try to wrap them up before school starts. We might be back putting down a second lift of pavement after the Labor Day holiday, but that's kind of the scope of the project. We try to get in and out of neighborhoods in 4 to 5 weeks, work around things. You know, we know graduation parties and summer events are occurring while we're out there doing, you know, these street projects, and so really try to work around that, or any, you know, homes that, you know, might have some special needs, that kind of a thing. So a lot of questions. We had some opposition presented to one area of the city, the project there, where it's a little bit unique. We have some townhomes, condos, apartments, those kinds of things in a specific neighborhood. So heard all of those feedback on the project, and so those will be taken into the record, and now the project kind of continues to move forward, and those residents will have kind of an opportunity to appeal that further. So just part of our annual process, but good to be able to kind of provide some education within kind of hearing those opposition to the project as well.
And the education process isn't just at the public hearings.
Oh, no.
So again, there was a large crowd that showed up, but they've been in tune with this project. How does the city work ahead of time on this to really make sure residents know what's going to happen and how the process works?
So we put together our plan really kind of in 5-year increments, and so then we're communicating with all of those residents that are within that 5-year plan to let them know, hey, we're going to be in your neighborhood likely in this year. Right. Here's kind of how the project goes. Here's what you can anticipate from a cost perspective, how the city cost shares on these programs, why we do this work. So we really try to give people advance notice. Particularly if they're going to be, you know, selling their home, you know, wherever they're going to be in their home ownership with the city, in the city. So try to give enough communication up front so people are aware. And then as it gets closer to the time that we'd be in your neighborhood, a lot more specific communication about the timing of the project. You know, we want to know if people are having drainage issues in their neighborhood. We really like to hear about that. Or you know, certain areas where curb and gutter is an issue, or specific pavement issues. So we provide contact information that they can call our engineering staff and have those discussions, because the sooner we can get those on our radar, we can incorporate those issues into our plans, get out, take a look, and make sure we're addressing those things when we're out in the neighborhood. So a lot of communication with the residents, and yeah, this hearing is kind of a almost like a final step, and then as we go forward, that communication continues, because we've got to deal with mail access, and we've got to deal with, you know, special events as we go forward, where people can park during the times that, you know, curb and gutter and driveway aprons are being poured, those kinds of things. So it's a pretty big impact to a neighborhood, and there's a lot of communication that's necessary to make a project go well.
And I would guess as the projects go along, a lot of communications between the city and the contractors, because people might think, well, that's the city coming out and fixing my road, and that's not the case. No. These are not all city staff people, so you work closely with some contractors, is that right? Yeah,
so now we will get out to bid on these projects and get the pricing back in. We're hoping for a better bidding climate. I'm hearing some good things from neighboring cities that have recently been out to bid. So yes, we have private contractors that are out doing that work. We oversee that work either with our own city staff inspectors, or sometimes we'll work with an engineering firm, contract engineering firm, on behalf of the city to be inspecting. And those guys that are out in the field doing that inspection and working with those contractors, they are the point of contact with residents out there in the field, and they work through all those issues, you know, of access and mail and parking and those kinds of things.
All right, quite the project. And at the meeting itself, staff did a presentation for about 15 minutes to make sure people understood and went over some of the information we just covered. But then the public was given time to speak, and that was about 45 minutes. So again, great to see at some of these opportunities that there's a packed house, and people do take the opportunity to come before the council and state some of their issues and talk about the project and learn a little bit more. So that's up to the residents for coming forward. Second public hearing on the 18th was related to the CDBG funds. We talk about this annually as well. First, what does that acronym mean, and how does it help the city of Maple Grove?
Yeah, so these are community development block grants, and these are federal funds that flow down through the county that can be applied for various housing, social service projects in the community. So on the social service front, those requests are handled at a county level, and those funds are distributed at a county level. On the housing front, those decisions come back to the city, and we look at those on an annual basis and allocate those funds out. So this year, we're anticipated to receive about $157,000. So that's our City of Maple Grove allocation of those dollars. Historically, we have supported 3 programs in the city, one being the West Hennepin Affordable Land Trust, the Hennepin County Rehabilitation Loan Program, and then support of our own scattered site low-income housing programs. So 3 different programs that we support with that $157,000, and so the council has to approve that allocation of those dollars designated to housing.
All right, indeed was approved, and the projects will move along. Let's talk about community development. If you're interested in some more food in the city of Maple Grove, we can help you out.
Yes.
Let me get it right here. Shake Shack is what's coming to town. Tell us where and a little bit about this project.
Yeah, so this is part of, I think, the continued effort to kind of revitalize the shops at Arbor Lakes. So this is going to be going out at kind of right along Elm Creek Boulevard, just due west of where Portillo's is there, kind of, again, ringing that edge of the shopping center with more options for dining and experiences and those kinds of things. So Shake Shack, this is, I think, their 3rd store here in the Minneapolis market, Mall of America, Edina, and then Maple Grove. So we're really happy to have them here. This one, a little bit more straightforward, pretty small footprint, about 3,500 square feet, and then no drive-through associated with this. So makes kind of the traffic circulation issues a little bit easier to deal with. To construct this building, they're taking out about 33 parking stalls. When they redid the inner portion of the mall there, they gained about 31 parking stalls, so pretty much kind of a wash there.
Okay.
And that edge of the parking lot where they're proposing to build this really kind of is an area that doesn't see a lot of parking today anyways. Right. They do use it for some snow equipment storage, that kind of a thing. So kind of good to see that repurposed into a use and a nice addition to the dining options in Maple Grove.
And this is popular in other parts of the country, so
Yes.
the buzz is already out there that people are saying, yes, coming to Maple Grove. What's the timing on this project? Do we have a feel yet of what they're looking at?
Yeah, they'll get going this summer. I suppose that's probably a 6 to 9 month build or something similar to like the Wahlburgers operation. So, you know, I guess they could be open by year end maybe or early into 2021.
All right, be patient out there, but it is indeed coming. Other reports from community development, just a couple things that are coming up. The Elm Road Project comes up again. Again, quick reminder of what that is.
Yeah, so the Elm Road Project, this is an area in the southwest corner of the city. Elm Road is kind of one of the last gravel roads left in Maple Grove. It's surrounded by large lot, single family type development that's been there for many, many years. Ganya Land Development Company has acquired a number of the properties in that area and is proposing about 106 unit single family subdivision. So kind of situating those existing large lot single family homes into a more typical suburban development pattern. Okay. So this one got tabled at the Planning Commission level. Planning Commission wanted to come back with a little bit more analysis. There was a lot of discussion about maintaining kind of the larger lot subdivision type project, and you know, for many reasons, the developers seeking kind of that typical suburban, you know, quarter-acre lot type of project, maybe even a little bit smaller. So this one will come back with hopefully those questions answered for the Planning Commission to the February 24th Planning Commission, and then would be in front of the City Council at their March 2nd meeting. Okay, very good. Couple other businesses to keep your eye on that might be coming to town. KinderCare and ProMed.
Yes. Quickly, what are those two?
Yeah, so KinderCare out at the markets at Rush Creek. We were, you know, in front of the council not just recently with a kind of a multi-tenant retail building out there. So this is in one of those outlots out in front of the store for daycare services. And then, you know, ProMed is a really, it's an interesting project. It's a great project for Maple Grove and for the med tech industry. So this is at a site just south of the former Hartford building, the now Abbott Laboratories building, which we're very happy to have Abbott here in town from a med tech industry perspective. But ProMed, this is an expansion of their operations that are currently in Plymouth. And this is going to be a unique space. It's kind of a med tech incubator space. So ProMed does a lot of work with combination med tech products. So really kind of a medical device paired with a pharmaceutical. And this space will really be focused on taking those products through that FDA approval process. And so a lot of lab space, clean room space that you might see a rotation of kind of mid-stage med tech companies coming through there that they're looking to get through this process. It allows them to get into a space for that clean room lab space and get their product through that process. So it's really, I kind of think of this as like a multiplier, really, for the med tech industry here in Maple Grove, which is going strong. And so this is just a great investment. ProMed will also move some of their executive offices up to this location. It's going to be a really attractive building. The good news is on this one, the state is involved with this one from a deed perspective, so there's some state dollars going in to support this. And then this project is seeking some tax increment financing and economic development district, which is focused on the job creation that'll occur at this project. So really excited about this one. This is one that's been around we've been working on this one for a couple years, really from concept to now today to it coming forward. And so this is an exciting project.
All right, there's your preview of what might be coming up in community development. Nothing new from Public Works and Engineering. They talked plenty about street reconstruction earlier on in the meeting, and a couple updates that Heidi had. We'll touch on those as we get through a couple other updates around the city. So there's your recap of the February 18th meeting. Let's, Heidi, move now to some of the other things happening around the city, and the first is the election. Give us a look at how things are going with the primary election going on now, or the presidential primary election. How are things going, and what are you preparing for as we get to the finish line? Yeah, so we're doing absentee voting right now at the Government Center, second floor of the Government Center, for the presidential nominating primary. We will be open on Saturday, February 29th for voting during the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have lots of staff on hand, so if you want to come out on that Saturday and get your PNP vote done, you can take advantage of that. And we'll also be open the night before the election until 5 p.m. So Monday, March 2nd, we'll be there till 5 p.m. offering that absentee voting opportunity. On the day of the presidential nominating primary in Minnesota, March 3rd, Election Day, all of the precincts that you normally go to will be open in Maple Grove. We'll be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. just like a normal election day. So there's an opportunity to get out and vote on that day as well. So lots of information available on our website. There's some interesting things about voting this year that, this is a new thing for Minnesota, and so you have to declare your party when you come, and then that information can be available to those political parties on the backside. So just a lot of information about that, and making sure people are educated and understand, kind of the state laws around that. But we're open now, 8 to 4:30 any day if you want to stop on in. And how did the election judge process go? Are you fully staffed for this time, and still, even as we get towards August and November, still a need for election judges? Yeah, we will always take additional election judges to help us out. And right now, we use some election judges in this interim period. They're in the office during the day to help us deal with the folks who are coming in to vote, but also then they can help us get prepared a little bit for the next go around. So always open to more election judges. It's a fun process to be involved in. City's website, the place to find out more information about that. Here's the date for your calendar, February 28th, if you want to find out what happened, maybe a quick recap of last year in the city and a look ahead, the State of the City event. Tell us how that works. Yeah, so Friday morning, February 28th at the Community Center, we'll gather at 7:30. A light breakfast will be served. The program or the event will start the program will start at 8 a.m., run from 8 to 9 a.m. We're committed to getting people out the door at 9 o'clock and on with their work day, but it is a free event. We do ask that you register. We have an Eventbrite site set up for that. You can go to our front page of our website has the event there, and you can go on and register for that. But we encourage people to come on out. We have a good program planned. The mayor and you will talk a little bit about what's been going on in the city and what we expect for 2020 and beyond. And then Shannon Full with the Twin West Chamber will be there talking about the workforce initiative we're partnering with them on called Elevate Futures. And so we have a packed morning of information planned for you. Yeah, good chance to find out again what happened and what's coming up in the city. Eventbrite, the place to look on the city's website for that. The next day, you will be busy once again, and this time is really looking ahead in a meeting with the council. Tell us why this is an important annual event. Yeah, so every 2 years, we sit down with the council and go through kind of a strategic planning session and set out some goals that we want to focus on for the next couple of years. So that'll be taking place on Saturday, February 29th. We'll get started about 8:30 in the morning, and our goal is to wrap up by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All of our directors provide a presentation to the council about kind of
what's going on in their department, what they see as challenges and opportunities coming in the next 3 to 5 years, things we need to be prepared for or be responding to. And so it's really just a great opportunity, hopefully for everybody to kind of get on the same sheet of music
Sure.
and get some agreement around what staff needs to be focusing on. So from that, we'll develop some goals and things, tactics that we need to be working on to address those issues. And then that's what we kind of focus on for the next couple years, in addition to the day-to-day services that we
That's right.
provide here at the
A lot
city.
to be talked about, so we'll give you a recap of that the next time we get together. Grand openings in the city, a lot going on. Tell us where people have been opening things up, and you may have already been there to shop at these businesses. What's the excitement in town?
Yeah, so Wahlburgers celebrated their grand opening last week. I've heard that they've been very busy, lunch and evening dinner time, so that's great, right there on the corner, fourth corner of Arbor Lakes. And then Sugar and Spice Sweetery up at the Grove opened up, and that's kind of so we kind of have two spectrums. We have the national corporate restaurant, and then we have the really local business that went from caterer to bricks and mortar business. They're kind of partnered up there with Rock Elm Tavern. They share some of the kitchen space, so kind of a creative approach to that. That's kind of the most expensive part of a build out like that, so to be able to share some of that is really good thinking. And then Sugar and Spice Sweetery provides all the desserts at Rock Elm, at both of their locations, both in Plymouth and Maple Grove. And so great new offering there and up at the Grove.
Sounds like a neat partnership, so get out and support those new local businesses. Police Explorers, opportunity for people to get involved, and people might not know what the Explorers are, so what age group and what activities would I do if I was a police explorer?
Yeah, so our Police Explorer program is for youth aged 14 to 20 that are interested in the field of law enforcement. So being a police explorer really provides you in-depth information and knowledge about the field of law enforcement, and then you have the opportunity to get involved with different training activities and really kind of try to experience some real-life police work. So we really encourage people, if you're thinking about a career in law enforcement or just have an interest in that area, to apply. Information is available on our website for that. One of the neat things is throughout the year, the Police Explorers have an opportunity to participate in the Minnesota Law Enforcement Conference each year, and they get to demonstrate kind of the things that they've learned throughout the year. It's kind of a competition, but also a real great learning opportunity. So that's kind of one of the benefits of the program as well.
Very good. All right, there's your police update information about that program on the city's website. Now let's jump to firefighters. They're going to be hustling up and down stairs for a good purpose here. What is the climb all about?
So Fight for Air, the Firefighters Stair Climb, and I think they've already maybe done this. So the firefighters took part in the challenge for the American Lung Association Fight for Air Stair Climb. So they do this fully outfitted with their fire gear. So that's no small feat. They climbed 31 floors, 680 stairs at the U.S. Bank Plaza in Minneapolis, and then about 200 firefighters throughout the metro area participated in that event.
Yeah, neat. Hats off to the fire department staff that participated. If you like art, place to go is the art center in town. What could people see now?
Yeah, so the photography show at the Maple Grove Art Center is ongoing through February 28th. The exhibit features everything from kind of natural scenes to abstract pictures, and it's all based on photography. I had an opportunity to go over there and meet with Lise recently and kind of take a look at the photography, and it's really some neat stuff. So check out their website for the dates and times that they're open, maplegroveartcenter.org.
All right, so neat photography there. Empty Bowls coming up. If people don't know what that is, great opportunity for the community to come together and support a local food shelf. And that is Cross is the supporting place here. Thursday, March 12th is the date of the event. Where is it held? How does this work?
Yeah, this is at the Community Center, 4 to 7 p.m. for the Empty Bowls event. Enjoy food from local restaurants as well as pottery demonstrations and music from local artists. Unique handcrafted bowls that are made by the community members and area students are available for purchase there. And then there's usually like a soup type of a lunch supper available. And then the proceeds that are generated from this event benefit Cross Services.
Yeah, very much needed in the area. So get out to that event again on March 12th. Community Forum on Race, we've talked about this multiple times, another annual event in the city, and I understand a date has been sent and location.
It is. So Maple Grove continues to partner in this annual event with the City of Brooklyn Park, Osseo area schools, and so this is our 7th annual Community Forum on Race event, and the public is invited to attend this event. This year, a little bit different format. It's going to be a Thursday evening. So Thursday evening, May 7th at the Brooklyn Park Activity Center. So this one will be held over in Brooklyn Park. Admission is free. They always provide kind of a light, food offering there. And then because this is an evening event, they're also going to be providing some childcare for kids age 16 months to 5th grade, but there is some registration required for that daycare piece. So we are putting out some information. Again, there'll be an Eventbrite option to register. Free event, but they do like to get a head count so they know how many to plan for this event.
And again, not just the city of Maple Grove, but some great partners involved with this as well, other cities in the school district. So look for more information coming on that. And we mentioned at the beginning of the program, we want to look way ahead here. Let's get out of winter, Heidi. Let's get maybe to fall time.
Yes.
Tell us about the big event coming up, the concert on the lawn, for people that maybe have missed it. Why do we have an annual event like this, and what are some of the exciting things this year? Yeah,
so last year was our first year with this big concert on the lawn, kind of the first big concert event over at Central Park. And the city took the lead the first year, I think, kind of test the venue, see if how this would work over there. Partnered with the Maple Grove Lions last year on that event. Maple Grove Lions are taking the lead this year on that event. I think they liked the venue, they liked the site, they liked the concert, and think it's a great addition to the events that they do throughout the year. So Saturday, September 19th will be the date. We don't have announcements yet about the talent that will be performing that night, but again, it'll be an evening of live music, food. The Lions will have their beer garden again, so it was a great evening last year, and so we're looking forward to that again coming in the fall.
All right, we'll keep you in suspense about the group. We don't know yet, so as soon as we find out, we'll make sure you know so you can get that on your calendar. Heidi, thanks again for the information, the update of what's new in town. Let's leave you with the next council meeting date. That is going to be on March 2nd. There you see at 7:30 at the Government Center. Phone number at the bottom of the screen. Up in the middle, you see the Maple Grove website again. Wealth of information there to find out about some of the events that are coming up. We mentioned Eventbrite. You can go to the Maple Grove website and then hook in through Eventbrite to sign up for some of those activities coming up. And your response line, 533-1710. Questions or comments about the program, we would love to hear them. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.